Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear MacBook Pro Retina 15.4 inch 512 gigabyte solid state hard drive. Happy birthday to you. Well, that was my little homage to my computer. This is August 24th, 2013, and on August 24th, 2012, about this time of day, here about 3 in the afternoon, my son and I were out at the Apple store there, out in Eastland there. Eastland Town Center at the Eastern Town Center at on the east side of Columbus, buying this thing. And well, we'd gone to Micro Center to buy the printer first, I guess, and check out their prices, but we went over to Apple for the actual purchase. I didn't realize at the time that there was an Apple store right down the road here on Polaris, not more than a mile and a half down the road. But anyway, we traipsed all the way out to Eastern. And as you saw on the opening shot there, that was a screenshot of my very first YouTube video, and I made that on December 1st, 2012. And if you had told me when I first bought this thing here a year ago that I would be doing YouTube videos to the extent I've been doing, I would have scoffed. But I've clearly become kind of hooked on this. You know, it's been a long slog. I mean, I've spent. There hadn't been a single day. There has not been a single day in this year since I first turned the thing on on September 4th. I turned it on September 4th because we didn't have the AT&T hadn't gotten the U-verse in just yet. But there hadn't been a single day since I turned this thing on that I haven't been on this thing somewhere between 4 and 12 hours. Now I think that borders on the pathological, and that's a separate issue, but it's been a very interesting little year on this. It's been very frustrating at times, intensely frustrating at times. But my son says that I'm one of the most persistent people he knows, and I think maybe I am. There hadn't been too much swearing at it, although from time to time swearing at something helps. Certainly helps with mechanical stuff. Not so sure it helps with electronic stuff, though. So that's it. You know, I mean, that's a little bit of a milestone here. Of course, I still named it after my dead dog, didn't I? So today has been, you know, some YouTube-y stuff. Actually, not as much computer stuff as I might have liked because the internet was out. The internet was out for 4 hours between 1:30 and 4:30 this morning, and for about an hour between 7:30 and 8:30 this morning. And since I can't really sleep all that well at night, a lot of times I get up and do stuff in the middle of the night. And then, of course, in the early morning, I like to read the Wall Street Journal online. So, but, you know, it's all been well since then, so I can't really gripe. Paul's not home yet. I guess his next day off is Tuesday. This is Saturday right now. I read at church tomorrow, and we have these. Well, now we have 2 funerals coming up. Another fella died just after I talked about this one guy's death here a few days back, or a couple days ago. So it's going to be Funeral City up St. Peter's here in Delaware. So on that note, I'm going to say bye-bye now, YouTubers. Looky here, guys. Paul just got home, and look what he brought home from work. You know, leftover from, you know, the morning's breakfast festivities down at the hotel. You've got these great Spanish omelets, which are very tasty. Now, of course, you've got to sort of put some extra seasoning on them, of course, but that's very good. And here's a whole bunch of sausages. Look at those things. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, wherever these guys get their sausage, they truly get some really fine meat. And these egg things aren't too bad either, although I have a feeling, of course, it comes out of a box. But boy, their pork products in general are pretty good. Now they have some these little tiny Polish sausages that, you know, get cut up into little sausage slices. I'm going to tell you, that's pretty horrible stuff. And you know, it's free, but it's horrible. And so a lot of, you know, I hate to say it, but very occasionally the green and blue fuzz has gotten too much for me, and I've had to toss it over the side of the porch. But you know, it's blood pressure pill time for Paul here, and so he's got a couple stories. We'll go out on the deck here presently. Well, we've moved out onto the porch here, YouTubers, and Paul's got a story.
Got the car bashers back.
Oh, at the hotel, the guys that go in and break into the cars.
Out the car window. There's a guy from Arizona, elderly couple from Arizona. They have an all-electric car. Theirs was busted into. And somebody else's was broken into. I don't know which one that was. And then Fairmont next door, guy over there had a big Ram pickup truck. It got busted into. And there's a brand new inn over by the Fashion Mall. They had 20 guests broken into.
Good heavens, good Lord.
In one night, 20. So our side of the freeway lucked out.
Well, there's lowlifes abounding.
In Fairmont, apparently they don't have a shop vac, so they come and borrowed our shop vac to clean out their guest cars. So then they had to bring our shop vac and extension cords back to us.
Well, it's horrible. I mean, it's just horrible. You know,
we give them a card that tells them, do not leave absolutely nothing in your vehicle.
Yeah, but you know, I mean, I think some of these guys just break into things on spec. You know, they
all those stupid shit. One guy had a dirty T-shirt on the front seat of his car. They stole his dirty T-shirt.
Did it have the name of a particularly intriguing rock group on it?
No, it was a plain white T-shirt.
Oh.
It was dirty. And he took it off and threw it on the front seat of the car.
Maybe they're.
And he left it there.
Maybe they're fetishists. Maybe these guys have a T-shirt fetish. I understand there's folks out there like that. You can find them on the internet.
They'll even steal your pop cooler out of the back.
Well, yeah, it's like, you know, it's like this. Well, I had a fellow that helped train me when I was working, and whenever he'd talk about guys that had particularly good sex drive, he'd say that, you know, this fellow would have intercourse with a snake, and then he went on to say that he thought he'd have intercourse with a bush if he thought a snake were in it. So, I mean, there's some people out there that just can't be stopped, or understood,
They're nuts. I mean, they'll even break into a car if it's sitting in front of a security camera. Dee Dee's car was broken into. We were having one of those lunches where everybody's supposed to bring something. She brought this crock pot of Swedish meatballs.
No, it'd be very
Carried
good.
a crock pot of Swedish meatballs in. She went back out to get her briefcase and her purse. Her car windows are busted out. Her purse and briefcase are gone.
Well, you had your truck knocked into a couple of years back, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. And when you were working for the other place, you also, I think it happened one time then too, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It got into the passenger side.
And you weren't staying overnight at these places where you were working at the other place. You just were in and out.
No,
Yeah.
I was in a restaurant having breakfast or lunch, and they did it.
Yeah.
And they stole a 6-pack of Diet Coke.
Well, that might have transiently altered your lifestyle for a few moments, but well, that was yeah. Well, I mean, too. Well, of course, when we lived down there on Lakeview, they knocked into my pickup and got my little. That was when I had was carrying around a portable tape recorder to play off my cigarette lighter, and because I didn't have a tape player then, and I'd made a tape of the Mamas and the Papas, and it seems that they took the tape recorder, but they also took the Mamas and the Papas tapes. Now I had a couple of classical music tapes in there sitting on the seat too, and they left those. So they left my classical music, but they took my Mamas and the Papas, and I'd recorded these Mamas and the Papas tape off of my ex-wife's records, and they
seeing your mouth and your neck.
Oh, well, okay, I'll hold it up. Well, thanks. Well, I can never tell. See, I should get the eye pole out here. Well, anyway, so I'd recorded this stuff off of the Mamas and the Papas record, and I'd given her back the record. It was her record. So so that was gone. I mean, there was no way I'd get that back to re-record that. It reminds me of that moment in that that Jeff Bridges movie, where he plays the dude. I can't remember. I can't remember the name of the movie. But anyway, he has his car is stolen, and he's of course he wants to get his car back, and he says, well, and I had my Creedence Clearwater tape in there too, and the cop says, well, we might get the car back, but I don't hold out much hope for the Creedence. Well, of course, as soon as I turn this thing off, I'll remember the name of that movie. I've got it on tape. I mean, I've watched the thing, several times. My son gave it to me. It's great. Well, any other developments here, Paul?
Nope. That's it.
All righty. Bye-bye, YouTubers.